Let's add the Japanese Raccoon Dog from the newest Asia Animal Pack to the Elm Hill City Zoo. In this episode, we'll add those adorable fluffy little dogs to our Mountains of Asia section of the zoo and build a habitat with the slight Japanese theming. I hope you guys will enjoy this one. Hello guys, this is Cesar Creates and welcome back to my channel. It is time to build for a second animal from the new Asia Animal Pack, and today we will be building for the Japanese Raccoon Dog, otherwise known as Tanuki. This habitat will be located in one of the newer sections of our zoo called the Mountains of Asia. It is also a very small section because we only have one animal in it so far, and it is a Markhor, but the Markhor and its addition in the Zookeeper's Animal Pack inspired me to start this section, and while I was doing my research for the Japanese Raccoon Dog, I learned that they live in different environments in Japan. They are very adaptive, they can even live in the urban areas, they were found living in some abandoned buildings. But they also are found in mountains in Japan. They can live up to 2,000 meters above the sea level. I think it is quite high, right? So that's why I decided to include them in our Mountains of Asia section. I don't know if you guys remember that from the Markhor habitat, but I couldn't decide on the name of that section. I was thinking about Himalayas or Mountains of Asia. And because we'll be adding the Japanese Raccoon Dog to this section, we have to settle on the name Mountains of Asia, because they don't really live in Himalayas. By the way, I will add the link to the first habitat, the Markhor habitat, from this section in the description and on the screen right now, so you guys can go and check it out. Because in that video, I share with you guys some of my ideas and plans for that section, so if you are interested, everything is included in there. I decided to locate this habitat at the entrance to the Mountains of Asia section, so that will be the first habitat that the guests will see when they will enter this section. Okay, but now that we have the location, let's talk about the inspirations and my idea for this habitat. So, in my last video where we were building for the first animal from the Asia Animal Pack, the honey badger, by the way, thank you so much for all the amazing comments under that video. I told you guys that I want to experiment more with the backdrops for the habitats because I feel that I am using too much of the stalagmite rocks and the rock formations that I created with those. So today we start experimenting. I had this idea to create a little hill or mountain or something like this that will be a backdrop of the habitat, and it will be sort of like held and supported by this retaining wall that you could see me create. And to create that wall, I decided to use the pieces, like those stone cone pieces from the Africa pack. I haven't used them in quite a long time, but I know that some of Planet Zoo players use them for the backdrops of the habitat, for the rock walls and stuff, and it always looks nice. So I decided to do something with them in here. So to me, that was a huge throwback to the Africa pack. I am not using too many pieces from that pack, to be honest, so finally something that was useful. So when I created this whole wall using only those pieces, I thought that it lacks a bit of texture and it's a very plain wall, so I decided to add something to it, and I added those rock walls from the Oceania pack and sunk them a bit into this wall, and I really love the look of it. I think it looks amazing, so I was really happy with the final outcome. Then I did some terraforming to create the actual mountain for a backdrop, and then I realized that I will have to cover the top of this wall somehow because it is bare and I can't cover it with the terrain just because of how terraforming works in this game. So I added some mulch pieces and I added like a curb or something in there for the mulch not to fall down into the habitat. And then it was time to add a lot of different plants and rocks to make it look nice and make it look like it is a mountain that was here before the zoo was even founded. So that was my idea. We are called the Elm Hill City Zoo in the end, and there's not many hills in this zoo, so whenever I have a chance to add one or two, I am doing that. My general goal for this section is to use a lot of different height variations, just so our guests can feel like in the mountains. It also looks more interesting, and again, I'm not doing that a lot, so adding some different height elevations, different mountains and stuff makes your zoo look so much more realistic, and that is my goal in the end. Of course, it comes with different challenges. You guys know that I love to cover the in-game paths with different materials, just as plaster or concrete. I think that they look so much better that way, but when it comes to doing that with some, terrain changes, elevations, it is so difficult. I try to do that actually for this build, for the path that you'll be able to see me add later on, but it was impossible. I thought it will take me hours upon hours, and I decided just to use the in-game path. I am not super happy about this, but yeah, I decided to care here about my mental health. Okay, let's talk about our tanuki for a bit. I am so happy that it was included in this pack. Firstly, when we got the teaser or the artwork for the pack, I thought that it might be an Asian or an Indian pack or something, and I thought to myself like probably they will add animals like Nilgai or Blackback, that they are highly possible. I also thought about Gaur or animals like this, but I would never think about the tanuki. So this was very unexpected, but a very welcome surprise. They are beautiful both in game and also in real life. I included them on my personal wish list if you guys have seen that on my channel, so of course I am very happy that they were added. This is a very interesting species of canine because firstly they can climb on things, and they included that in Planet Zoo, which is so amazing. This is one of the 2 species of canines that we have on our planet that can actually climb on trees. The first being the raccoon dog, the Japanese one, and the common one, because there's 2 subspecies, and there's also a gray fox that is often found sleeping on the trees. So we will definitely build some climbing frames for our Japanese raccoon dogs in the Elm Hill City Zoo. I don't think that they are able to like climb on very intricate or complicated climbing frames, so we'll keep it simple, but definitely I will include something in their habitat. The other interesting thing is that they're the only canine species that hibernate during the winter. So they just fall asleep and sleep for several months, just as, for example, bears. And they also live in small social groups, which is typical for animals like dolls or the bush dogs, for example. So yeah, they will also live in very small groups. And I think that in Planet Zoo you can add up to 8 of them. I was also a bit surprised by the size. I thought that they were smaller, but this comes from me never seeing them in any of the zoos that I visited or in the wild, because actually raccoon dogs are invasive here in Europe. And you can find them in many European countries, and they are becoming more and more popular. Their numbers are growing, so there is a chance that you can actually see one here in Europe. And that brings me to the topic that I wanted to mention here. I think that the inclusion of this species is very important to raise awareness a bit about the cruel fur farms, because the raccoon dogs are one of the most popular animals bred for fur actually on the fur farms, where they are kept in terrible conditions and are bred only to be killed for the fur. So this is so cruel. I have mentioned this a lot in my videos, but in current times there is no need for us to wear fur. We have so many different clothing options that really we don't need that, and the suffering of those animals is just unbelievable. So please guys, don't be those persons and don't buy real fur. If you have seen people wearing those jackets, winter jackets or parkas with the fur on the hoods, like it was very popular several years ago. Many of those hoods were made using the raccoon dog hair, unfortunately, and a lot of fur farms that produce them are located in Central Europe. That's why some of the tanukis were able to escape, and they are invasive. They were also brought here by Russians, from what I've read, because they were very popular animal to sport hunt. And a lot of them also escaped, and that's how they settled the whole population in here. And it is kind of a problem because, of course, they are a threat to our local wildlife, which is so sad because they are so adorable and cute. How they can be a threat to anything. There's this interesting thing with Slavic languages in Europe, for example, where you can have one word in one language that means something, and in other language the same word will mean absolutely something else, like totally different. And the same goes to the raccoon dog, because in my native language, in Polish, we call them jenot. And in Russian and Ukrainian, yenot means raccoon. So we kind of swapped those. I don't know, that's very funny. Of course, the raccoon dog is named the raccoon dog because of its resemblance of the raccoon, but they are not like related at all, and we somehow swapped the names in our languages. This often happens with Slovak or Czech as well, so yeah, that's really interesting. But yeah, what I was trying to say is that I have never seen the raccoon dog in any of the zoos that I've been to. I hope that I will be able to see them soon in any of the zoos that I will be visiting. So it was kind of difficult for me to, get the size right of this exhibit, but in the end, I think that the exhibit that I created is big enough for a small group of them. It is certainly bigger than some of the habitats that I have seen in zoos when I was looking for inspiration online. Some of those are tiny, which is very depressing, and I definitely didn't want that. And I really wanted to create something nice, and I actually found a very nice habitat for them somewhere in Mexico. I don't remember the name of the zoo, but it was very green, lush, very tropical looking almost, and this is something that I wanted to go for. So this habitat was definitely not inspired by only one raccoon dog habitat from real zoos. For example, I took the inspiration for foliage from one zoo, I took the inspiration for the fence from different one, also the wall in the back is also slightly inspired by other one. You can also see me add this like column on the top of this wall at some point. I decided to add it because we did something like that for the Markhors, and I wanted to make those two habitats look a bit more cohesive, so they look like they come from the same section from the zoo. That's why I did something like this. I added a lot of bamboo plants to the habitat. I am a huge fan of bamboo in real life. I love it when zoos use it. It is very easy to grow in different climates, and it right away adds this tropical vibe to the habitats, especially for Asian habitats. It looks amazing, and bamboo also grows in mountains in Asia. That's why I wanted to use it in here. I'm not maybe a huge fan of the model of the bamboo plants. They are from in the game, they are from the base game, so they don't look that good. But from afar, I think that they can pass, and they look quite okay in this habitat. I just added a small water section. I just thought that it will look nice. They probably don't swim that much in real life, and I really like the look of it in here. I added some usual stuff like enrichment items, the smaller and bigger rocks. Later on you'll see me adding more plants. I actually added here a lot of those new Chinese lantern plants that we got with the free update where that was released alongside the new pack, and when you group them together to create this bigger plant, they look really nice. So I really recommend you guys to try something like this because I really like this plant right now. And of course we had to add some climbing frames. As I told you, they probably shouldn't be too complicated for them. In one of the habitats that I saw online, they had like this very cool like suspended ladder or something. So I created something like that. Unfortunately, it won't be usable for them in the game, but it looks really nice. And I can imagine them using it, like climbing up this tree using this ladder. This would look so amazing. But there are also some usable climbing frames for them, such as logs and some branches. So I will definitely try to include some footage of them using the climbing frames in the cinematic shots by the end of this video. I know that the Elm Hill City Zoo has become sort of like chaotic a bit lately because of the releases of the new packs and stuff, but the next episode of the zoo will actually focus on the Latin America house. We will add one more outdoor habitat to this house, and then we'll focus on the interior. I'm mentioning this because you guys ask me a lot about this and when we'll finish this house, so this is coming. So we'll take sort of like a break from adding the animals from the newest Asia Animal Pack. But before that, I have actually the Desert Adventure Park episode planned for the next video. It will be very nice video, so I hope you guys will like it. We'll do something totally new for me. And also, I plan want to go back to Planet Coaster 2 because you guys also asked me a lot about this, so the new episode is also in the works. So there will be sort of like a little break before the next Elm Hill City Zoo video. I just wanted to mention that because I am uploading a lot of different Elm Hill City Zoo videos lately, but we'll take a small break for a couple of videos right now. If you guys watched the Markhor video, you probably remember that I added a bit of theming to this area of the habitat. I added some Asian lanterns that we have in the game, and I'm not the greatest when it comes to theming, but I wanted to continue that here for this habitat as well. And since the tanukis come from Japan, I wanted to add something that will be sort of reminding us of this country. So I decided to turn the viewing gallery for the guests into some sort of a Japanese gazebo or something like that. So they will have to enter this little roofed gallery to see the animals. I just googled for some Japanese gazebo inspiration and I tried to recreate something like that. It will of course have this very characteristic like reddish color, and in there we'll have some info signs for the animals as well. So you can actually see me creating it right now. The most difficult part about this was the roof. I had such a hard time with making it even and nice because I used the individual like tiles to make the roofing, but in the end I really like it. In this video, as you guys could see, if I am doing something over and over again, I was cutting out those parts because this video will be so long. It actually took me so long to build this habitat for such a small thing, but I really wanted to make something nice for those guys, and I really like how the Mountains of Asia section is like growing, how it will, I can imagine in my head how it will look, so I really want to make it right. Unfortunately, as you could see, there is a big skip in building this gazebo because I simply forgot to press record when I was building this, so I wasn't recording for a while, and that's why there was this jump, but this also made the video a bit shorter, so I am not complaining. I will not do the shelter for them in the speedboat. This will all be shown in the cinematic shots in the second, so definitely stay tuned for that. And also you will see how I decorated the whole space between the path and the actual habitat with different plants and rocks. I wanted the guests to still be able to see them from the path, so they don't need to enter actually this little gazebo. Of course they will have the most perfect view, but from the paths the little dogs will also be visible. Okay guys, this is all when it comes to the speedboat part. Let me meet you in a second to show you around the new Japanese raccoon dog habitat. The Elm Hill City Zoo is very happy to welcome a small group of the Japanese raccoon dogs. I love those adorable little fluffy dogs from the newest Asia animal pack, and I am very happy that they were added to Planet Zoo. This is a second habitat in our Mountains of Asia section, and I am so excited to add even more habitats in the future to this section because I really like how it is developing. I also really like this small little theming that we did for this habitat with this Japanese inspired gazebo as a little viewing terrace for our guests. This habitat is very lush. There's a lot of places to hide for our tanukis. They have a lot of shaded areas. They also have a little water section that they really enjoy. They also have some custom climbing frames in here. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make them climb. I don't know what it is. There is something, I think, a bit messed up with the traversable area of these animals. I think that Frontier will have to update it a bit because for such a small animal they require a lot of space to be able to move around, and also I think that this is why they couldn't use the climbing frames that I built for them. As I told you in the video, tanuki is a very interesting animal. It is the only canine in the world that actually hibernates during the winter. It also can climb trees. It is also very popular in Japanese culture because it is believed to cause some mischief from what I've heard. So yeah, really cool animal, really beautiful model and I'm really happy that it was added, and I really like what we created for them today in the Elm Hill City Zoo. Okay guys, if you enjoyed today's video, please consider to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Ring the bell if you want to be notified every time I upload a new video like this. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and of course leave me a comment and tell me what you think about the new tanuki habitat in the Elm Hill City Zoo. Thank you guys so much for watching, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!